All right, starting off with our top focus today, President Joe Biden will make a landmark trip to Israel in an ironclad show of U.S. support for the Jewish state. A wartime trip will pose security risks, goes without saying, and U.S. is seen as a less potential peace broker. However, Washington's angry Arab allies are pointing to U.S. failure to actively engage. Now, analysts say the war is tilting the global balance of power in favor of Russia and China. Here's a look at Israel-Hamas military balance and the key questions surrounding Biden's visit. Now, Biden will hold talks with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and make clear that Tel Aviv has the right to defend itself. The visit will also seek to avert a regional conflagration with Hamas-backed Iran, with Iran-backed Hamas, which warned of possible preemptive action against Israel in the coming hours. Repeated fire in recent days along Israel's northern border with Lebanon has claimed lives on both the sides and compounded fears of a regional spillover of the war. Now, Biden's visit also comes amid frantic diplomatic efforts to ease the impending humanitarian crisis in Gaza after waves of Israeli retaliatory airstrikes. The timing of the U.S. president's visit is highly sensitive here. A lot of questions regarding what it will reap for the U.S. Israel is gearing up for a ground invasion of Gaza and pummeling it with air and artillery strikes. And then there are security risks. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken was taken to a bunker after air raid sirens went off as he visited Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem on Monday. After Israel, Biden will travel to Jordan, where he will meet King Abdullah II, Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas, and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Now, Biden's response is being closely watched at home ahead of next year's U.S. election, where Republicans accuse the Democrat president of being soft on Iran. After energetic diplomatic efforts in the past came to naught, analysts say Washington will also be wary of investing in any peace drive as the presidential polls approach. Arab leaders say the region is paying a price because Biden did not make Israel-Palestine talks a priority. From its first months in office, the Biden administration made a distinctive decision on its West Asia policy. It deprioritized a half-century of efforts by past presidents, particularly Democratic ones, to broker a broad and lasting peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians. Administration officials early on sketched out what they called Biden's policy of quiet diplomacy. They advocated for more modest improvements in Palestinian freedoms and living conditions under Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's hardline government. The Israeli Prime Minister's government has encouraged settlement in the West Bank and includes coalition partners that oppose the US-backed two-state solution. The less ambitious approach fit with Biden's determination to pivot his foreign policy focus from West Asia hotspots to China. Now, the long-term risks of sidelining the Israeli-Palestinian conflict exploded back into view with the Hamas attack on Israel and Tel Aviv's heavy bombardment of Gaza as a repercussion of that. For Biden, walking away with a deal on containing the regional crisis is crucial here. The war is also proving to be a boon for America's main geopolitical rivals. We're talking about China and Russia and Iran, who have long sought to undermine the US-backed international system and are now taking advantage of America's distraction. US was trying to broker a deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel, and now Saudi Arabia has suspended any normalization of talks with Israel. Pointing at the mounting Palestinian deaths, Moscow revels in what it calls the hypocrisy of the Western governments. China has embraced the Palestinian cause in a way it had not done in decades. Its once cordial ties with Israel are reportedly in tatters now. The United States is surging assistance for Israel, including missiles for its Iron Dome interceptor system. After ordering its largest aircraft carrier to move closer to Israel, Washington deployed a second aircraft carrier. The U.S. is also deploying hostage experts to Israel. Commander of the U.S. Central Command is in Tel Aviv. He said, and I'm quoting here, "I am here to ensure Israel has what it needs, and I'm focused on other parties expanding the conflict." For Hamas, it is a hugely asymmetric struggle. There is a moment when Hamas will need to find a way out, including for the sake of its own population, who will pay the highest price here. And they are. Israel has one of the best resourced militaries in the world, hugely supported by Washington. Hamas and other Palestinian groups in the Gaza Strip have a variety of homemade or smuggled rockets at their disposal to use against Israel. Hezbollah, this is the other player here, the non-state actor. Hezbollah's expansive Iranian-supplied arsenal of rockets, drones and missiles pose a bigger threat than Hamas. Hezbollah can rain fire on targets throughout Israel, including with far more advanced and hard-hitting weaponry than that Hamas has been able to muster till now. All right, for more on this, we have with us our correspondent Siddhant Sibal, who has been covering the conflict from the front line. He sends us this latest report from Ground Zero at Nes Ziona. Take a look.
I'm here in Nes Ziona. This is a small town as we go to Jerusalem, and we met an Indian caregiver who survived the Hamas attack, and she gave us the details of the heartbreaking story, how she survived the attack and how one of her colleague, a Filipino national, was kidnapped by Hamas. And she talked about the trauma she's going through, but she feels safe in Israel. Remember, Israel has approximately 18,000 Indian nationals, many of them working as caregivers here in Israel. The Indian government has started Operation Ajay as well for Indians who would like to go back to India. But nonetheless, when it comes to India, India has taken a strong stance on the issue of terrorism, calling the Hamas attack as a terror attack, but also reiterating its support for Palestine with a two-state solution. With video journalist Sanjeet Siddhant Sibal for WION in Nes Ziona in Israel.